The moment is here, you can stop your search. It's Comics by Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch. How is the comic industry doing? Well, I get that question a lot, and I see that question pop up on other messages. I get sent that question like, "Hey, Perch is saying the comic industry is dying," or my favorite Perch Industries, home of Perchington. Perch says that the comic industry is doing amazing. It's doing great. It's weird to me. I always wonder if you listen to this show. How you could walk away with either of those two extremes. I don't quite understand it. If you listen to this show and you come away with the conclusion that I think everything's going great, what am I doing here? Like, what? I would make all these videos talking about how there are issues and things need to be fixed, but it's doing great. We do need to fix everything, and the events aren't really landing, and comic shops are hurting, but it's doing great. That's the subtext that clearly the clever of you are picking up on. Or if everything is going terrible. No, obviously it's not. Everything is not going terrible. But what's strange about this is not a middle of the road position. It's just a position. It's literally like, look, comics are being sold today. They are in stores. You can buy them. The business is not bankrupt. But wait, what about Aftershock? Okay, fine, Aftershock. But as a whole, the business is not bankrupt. Comics are being produced. Are they being produced at the same volume as they were in the 80s and 90s? No, not even close. So that's fact. That's reality of where comics are at. Look, in my view, comics are underperforming. Meaning, with kind of what could be true with the need and search for entertainment, with the success of other things in this same genre, yes, like manga, but also like YA, like Dogman, like other things. We know there are people out there who are willing to walk into a store, open up their wallet, take out cash, and buy books with pictures in them. We know that there's a market out there. Stuff is selling. U.S.-based comics are not selling as well as they should be. Now, I'm sure that you could hire somebody from, Deloitte who could come in and give you an exact, a financial amount about how much they're underperforming. I don't know if that's terribly interesting or useful. Hopefully, the comic, publishers are doing this, the big ones anyway. But in general, I think it's a fairly easy statement to say, hey, there is a market. Every now and then, somebody will make the comment of like, well, kids aren't going to buy comics anyway. They're too interested in their phones. Yeah, except they're buying manga, and they're buying YA, and they're buying Dogman, and they're buying all this other stuff. Hey, girls will never buy comic books. Yeah, except they're buying, Raina Telgemeier stuff. They're buying, Babysitter Club stuff. All these things have words and pictures in a sequential format, in a book form, and they're sold. So, look, they're being sold. People are buying them. The question isn't, are comics dead? Of course they're not dead. You can walk into a store right now, unless you live completely out in a rural area. You can walk into a store within 40 miles of yourself and buy comic books. Yeah, a lot of comic shops have stopped carrying new comics, but not the majority. The majority are still carrying new comics per, BookScan, per Diamond's numbers, per Penguin Random House. There's still a bulk of the comic shops selling new comics. But, again, they're not selling at the volume they were in the past. And, from my opinion, I don't think that the publishers should say, wow, there's nothing we can do. Because there clearly is something you can do. When you look around and you see competing media getting attention, the argument of, kids are just never going to buy comics, it doesn't hold water. Now, maybe it's kids won't buy comics if they're priced at, $5 a piece, and that's almost the same price point as something that's 8 times the size. Yeah, that's a problem. Or maybe it's, hey, the current content we're putting into comic books isn't appealing to that audience. I put up this video. By the way, I put up this video, Secret Wars, a 1984 sales analysis. And one of the comments that got back was, oh, so you're saying comics are selling just fine. What the hell are you talking about? Do you think that comic that I was doing the sales analysis for, Secret Wars 1984, was published this month? Is that what you think? If you were mistaken by that, seriously, you shouldn't, don't comment on comic channels. You're just too dumb. The year it was made is in the fucking title. Anyway, they're not. Look, uh, one of the big successes of Secret Wars back in the time, and a success that carried over for decades, literally decades, was that it got kids, primarily boys, because they appealed to the action figure market. It primarily got boys between the ages of 8 and 12, 8 and 14, to go, hey, these comic book characters are cool. I would like to read the comics of this. And they did. And they kept reading for about 20 years, sometimes more. A lot. Running a comic shop for 30 odd years, you have no idea how many people came in and said their first ever comic was Secret Wars. What's funny is you can always tell this kind of growth evolution of the comic reader, because they're like, oh, when I was a kid, I bought Secret Wars. This is what got me into comics. Later, I found Crisis, and that was a much better comic. Well, yeah. I mean, Crisis was not aimed at kids, at least not that young. Secret Wars was. But anyway, once upon a time, comic companies were able to figure that out. They were able to, find a product that would appeal to that audience and sell a bazillion issues of that. Technically not a bazillion, but you catch my point. Anyway, they're able to sell a lot of copies. And could that, I guess the argument I would have, and I have had this argument with people in comics, is could you do that today? And the answer is yes. Yes, you absolutely could do that today. There's no reason why you can't sell similar volumes of comics today. I don't know that it would work with action figures, because the action figure market in general is down, but you could probably do something with Lego. I mean, I thought there was this opportunity. Who had the Ninjago license? Was it IDW? Whoever it was just jacked that thing all up. They made it stupid. That the right answer would have been to make get a really strong artist and writer and make a Ninjago comic. Don't make the characters look like Lego figures. Make them actually look like, regular ninjas or whatever it happens to be, and put some real effort into it and make a comic book, and then, spin off the success of Legos back when those were hot a few years ago. That's something you could do. The mail that somebody wrote in saying, should somebody make a comic around Harry Potter? Yeah, you should. Yeah, you absolutely should. Anything that has some kind of pop culture appeal, you should try and make a comic about it. Why not? I mean, hell, but you got to do it seriously. You can't do it like a lot of these tie-ins. They're just terrible. They read like people trying to understand what kids would like to read about. They're just awful comics by and large. Anyway, the comic industry could be doing a lot better. And the frustration I have with comics is not that they're whatever, that Vita has got another comic. Does Vita have another comic? I have no idea. It's more, hey, it's hard to watch something that severely underperforms constantly. It's hard to just see that over and over and over again. It's hard to watch something that you love, and I'm sure this is true for a lot of you, put in what feels like the lowest possible effort. It's like, you have an athlete that you loved watching in whatever. It'd be like, put it this way, it'd be like if Joe Montana was still playing football today. Chances are he would suck. Every once in a while, he would put out a really amazing pass and a great play, but more than likely, watching Joe Montana at this current, at his current age, would be not even remotely close to his, to his exciting. Pick your team. If you hate the 49ers, you could throw in John Elway. I mean, hell, put in, Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning, when the Broncos won the Super Bowl, was painful to watch. Like that defense just carried that team to the finish line. But every now and then he fired off a great play because, he still has a lot of the skills. This is what comic books are like. This is what it's like. Why you're reading them right now? It's painful in a lot of cases because, they're still publishing comics. They're still out there. They're profitable. By the way, it's weird. I think some people equate profitable as doing great. Profitable does not mean you're doing great. If you spend $60 and you make $61, you are profitable. A $1 profit is profitable. It's not a good profit. It's not anything that's going to cause that business to expand and grow and be better and evolve. If in many cases, a lot of companies will just kind of stumble along being barely profitable where they try and build a foundation that they can go big on. That doesn't work terribly well for a lot of comic companies. Works great for new ones. Ones that are trying to catch their footing, sure, you just hope to be profitable. But if you're one of the big guys, it's not where you want to be. But being profitable doesn't mean everything is going amazing. I, by the way, I will say, I've done this entire video. I acknowledge that when people say things like, "Well, Perch says the business is dying. What gives?" Or Perch says the business is doing better than ever. My feeling is, you're not a dumbass. You know what you're doing. I feel like Red Foreman knows it. You're not a complete fool. I believe you know full well you're trying to stir up drama or you're trying to just be a dick for reasons that are best known only to you. But you know that's not what's being said. Come on. Anyway, I don't know. I think that, look, to me, the comic business underperforms based on the power of the movies that have been out, based on clearly an interest in reading sequential art. People are into it. Based on a lot of things, comics should be doing better. I don't think that's a controversial statement. I don't think that's oh my God, against all of comics. It's a hate crime against comics. It's just a fact. Comics should be doing better. And I think the joy or the struggle or the where we want to go is to try and figure out how to make them better, how to get them better, how to get them into a spot where they're selling really well. That's the dream. That's what we'd like to have happen. That's what I'd like to have happen. I also acknowledge that may not be everybody's goal. But for me, I would like to see comics super successful, doing great, selling strong, business good. That's to me, that'd be a good payoff to the love of comics. And there's certainly some people out there swinging for the fences every single day, and good for them. That's what they should do. But saying all that, saying I would like it to get better, doesn't mean everything is great, nor does it mean everything is falling apart. Pretty simple. Anyway, it's a fence-sitting position, and thanks for listening.